Hi, I'm Reverend Eric Ovid Donaldson, Senior Minister at Unity Christian Church here in Memphis, Tennessee, with another edition of our lectures in the nature of urban ministry. Now, over the past few weeks, I asked a host of questions. I hope you're enjoying the questions. I hope you're enjoying the assignments. And one of those questions that I asked is, what was your experience of urban ministry? I think that was one of the first questions I asked actually in the first week or two. And I want to share one of my experiences of urban ministry. The Unity Christian Church is located in the Whitehaven community of Memphis, Tennessee. It's on the south, literally a mile away or less from Graceland, and is on the border, just a few miles from the border of Mississippi and of Arkansas. Whitehaven used to be a very affluent community. It still is to a certain degree. And hence, Graceland is in Whitehaven. And many wonderful people are residents of Whitehaven. It's a beautiful place to have a church. It's a beautiful place to have a ministry. Well, a few years ago, about maybe 3.5 years ago, Trayvon Martin was gunned down in Florida. And we all know what that scenario is between Trayvon Martin, who was coming home from buying a can of iced tea and a bag of Skittles, and George Zimmerman, who was a self-proclaimed guardian of the community that they both had a right to be in. And we know what happened next. Trayvon Martin lost his life over a scuffle. He wasn't there to give his side of the story. We know what happened with the trial. It was a very painful experience to a lot of people, myself included. I was very distraught for the reasons that President Obama eloquently expressed. He said during that time that that could have been his son. I have a son, a 10-year-old son. And so to see something like that happen, it was very distressing, very distressful. And I needed to find a way to really have my desires known by God. I was on the verge of going out into the middle of the street and screaming. And so I got the idea to call my choir in, who many of them were also going through the same feelings and emotions that I was going through. I called them in. I said, everybody, I want you to come in to do a special tribute to Trayvon Martin. And I want everybody to bring your hoodies. And so my choir and I gathered around our grand piano and began to sing a song. The song was We Need You, Lord, right now. And I have it on video because at that same time during that day, I had a videographer in. Not for this, for something entirely different. And he was taking care of his business, and he heard the music and he stopped what he was doing and he captured us around the baby grand singing this song. Fast forward to January 2015. I was in Chicago, Illinois, paying tribute to one of my mentors, Reverend Dr. Johnny Coleman. Many of you are familiar with her. A phenomenal New Thought healer and teacher, prosperity teacher. And I had the privilege of being mentored by her. I was a member of Christ Universal Temple back in the mid-'80s when I moved to Chicago. And she selected me to be a part of the platform ministry, a platform chairperson. I would do the services alongside of her, and that was just a treat. Well, she had recently made her transition. She made her transition that December 2014, and I went to the memorial service. And while in Chicago for the memorial service, I was having lunch with a friend, and I received a phone call. And the phone call was from a an educator who I was making connections with in the community. She is an administrator for a charter school that we are heavily involved with here at Unity Christian Church. And she asked if Unity Christian Church would be available to support them in a citywide youth symposium that was being co-sponsored by an organization called Heal the Hood. I said, well, that sounds really interesting. I'd like to know more. I said, well, the CEO of the Heal the Hood Foundation is right here beside me. And we have a little problem because we were going to have this symposium here at the school, but we ran into a snag. And we're going to go into a meeting to see if we can unsnag the snag and still have it here, but we need a backup. And so I excused myself from the table. I was having lunch with my friend, as I had mentioned, and I told them, well, when is this symposium? I asked them, and they said this symposium was 3 days from the day we were having that conversation. I said, and it's citywide, and you still don't have a venue? And they said, well, not yet. We're hoping that we have that venue after we have our meetings later on today. And I said, well, skip that meeting. You need to have a venue so that you can do your promotions for these next 3 days. You don't have much time. Let's get this thing done. And they said, well, are you sure, Reverend? I said, yes, I'm sure. Don't worry about monies or anything of that nature. We'll figure it out. Let's get this thing going. And they said, well, okay. And then they said, by the way, the guest speaker at the symposium is none other than Sabrina Fulton, Trayvon Martin's mom. So we had the symposium. It was all over the news. Sabrina Fulton was magnificent. It was a win-win-win all the way around. Our sanctuary holds about 250 people. There were 300 people in that sanctuary, at least. Standing room only. I had the wisdom, thank God, to do a closed circuit sort of hookup in our fellowship hall, which holds another 100 people. It was standing room only. There was nearly 500 people here on that evening. Every chair was used that night. Oh, it was phenomenal. It was fantastic. I've never been a part of something that profoundly impactful on the community. A community that was looking to have change happen, not just as to how we protect our communities, but how we protect our sons and daughters, and how we work through the justice system, due process. And if nothing else, that evening was an evening of hope. Absolutely incredible. And so I have some things on here for you to see. We've got some videos. We have some news interviews. We have a host of things that you'll see as you click through some of these videos that are on this webpage. But I don't want you to miss how all of this came about. It came out of my needing to be as prayerful as I possibly can in a moment when I was most distressed. I really believe that our songs, our singing that day was a prayer. And we drew Sabrina Fulton to the church. There's no doubt about it in my mind. Tell me what you think. Take a look at the rest of the stuff that's here. And feel free to comment in the discussion forum or to give me a call or email or text me. And hopefully, in telling this story, you'll get the connection with New Thought, with unity, with urban ministry. Thanks for listening. I'm out.